We'll have our Fall Fest, is what it's being called. And yeah, it starts Friday evening, goes through till Sunday evening. A lot of great bands. Yeah, I mean, you can find the schedule, I'm sure, either on our website or in our bulletin, or probably on our Facebook page as well. So
awesome. So you recently took a vacation and you're wearing the Christendom College jacket. Is that where you went to seminary?
No, that's where I went to college. So instead of going to minor seminary at the Abbey at St. Ben's, St. Joseph Seminary College in Covington, you know, I mean, yeah, I mean, it was like 5 minutes from my house, and I was like, I can't go to seminary next door to my house. So instead, I went to college, and also, I mean, I just wanted some time to discern, not as intentionally there, because I already wanted to be a priest. It was kind of maybe a backwards thought process, but I actually had not been in contact with the vocations director back then, or anything. And there it was at the end of high school, and I just. My dad wanted to send me to a good Catholic college, and I said, sure, let's go. So we kind of split the costs on that, and I'm grateful to him for that. I'm sure I wouldn't have done it on my own if he had just said, you should go do this. I probably would have said, no, thanks, I don't need to have that cost, right? But it was the best 4 years of my life at Christendom College in beautiful Front Royal, Virginia, in the Shenandoah Valley, on the Shenandoah River. Best Catholic college in the country, although I always add that it's not for everyone. So, but visit it, and if anyone out there has you know, teenagers who are thinking about where to go for college, it's amazing, authentically Catholic college, very small, and so it's very personal. It feels like home. I do miss the Four Seasons, you know, being back here in Louisiana, where there's like maybe 2 seasons.
Yeah, so I was to say.
Spring and summer, I think.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you kind of are segueing to a question that I'm going to ask. What is your vocation story? What called you to the priesthood? Because you're a young priest, and I think a lot of people want to know what that call was, because you never know who's listening and maybe is experiencing that call. So do you mind telling us your story?
Yeah, so I don't mind. I always often used to say my story was boring, and someone corrected me and said, your story's not boring. But I think what I meant was it's not flashy. It doesn't feel, it's not like, you know, I was deep in a terrible life and all of a sudden I had a vision and God said, you know, change your life and be a priest. And then, you know, it's like, it's always been growing. Right, my desire to be a priest was always growing as I grew up, as I was a child. Right, so basically, there's me on video at like, you know, 2 or 3 years old, with my little, you know, those cable spools that if you turn them on their end, it's like a little round table, right? So you know, like giant cable spools, right? And so we had this spool table that I had covered with a baby blanket, and it was like my altar, and I had this little green Gideon Bible like you find in the hotel rooms, you know, and I was like walking around the table like repeating some priest's homily. I was repeating it wrong. It was kind of heretical, actually. So anyway, like I know there's video evidence of me before I can remember, like just playing priest and like thinking about priesthood. But it probably wasn't until I made my first communion that I started to think about it in terms of like what I wanted to be. And then it was still among many other things, right? I want to be a priest, and maybe I want to be this or that. And then as I grew older and started going to youth group and things like that, or just growing up around my other Catholic friends, as a high schooler, I know we were talking a lot about vocations, and you know, a bunch of my friends especially were very intentional about waiting until college to date, because we thought that dating was for a purpose and was for discerning marriage with someone. And if you're not old enough to get married, then why would you be discerning marriage? Wow. You know, and so that was kind of so it took a lot of the pressure off in high school. So where we could talk about vocations to marriage or priesthood or religious life more freely and with less pressure, and just be more open to that. I think I read a lot of stories of lives of the saints as a kid, and that inspired me to like want to do something with my life that kind of gave myself completely to God in some way. But that never like cut marriage out for me of the equation. Like I always still was discerning that, but I think that mindset did put priesthood on the radar for me, whereas, you know, it might not have had I not been thinking along the lines of making a gift of yourself to God, through your vocation. So, but anyway, so I ended up going to college, and best 4 years of my life. And I was really kind of discerning priesthood even while I was in college, right? That was, I met with the vocations director up there. I had never met the vocations director down here. And so I was tempted to stay and go into seminary in the Diocese of Arlington, because being in college, I made friends around there. I knew people. I knew the priests there. I knew, or a lot of them. And so I think the discernment, I'll just share one little story, that I was concerned that if I came back to New Orleans, that I had not gone through the rebuilding after Katrina, because I was a teenager living in Covington, and so on the North Shore. And so I wasn't sure that I could relate to everything that people had gone through. We had our own Katrina story. My little sister was born shortly after Katrina. We were in Baton Rouge, evacuated, right? And so we had our own Katrina story, power out for several weeks, like trees up in our, in our lawn, tornadoes nearby and stuff. But that's not the same as maybe what my grandparents or relatives went through, or all these others who live in New Orleans. And so I was afraid I couldn't relate if I came back, that people would be like, he doesn't really know us. He's not really from here. He's from the North Shore. He's from Virginia. Where's he from? And I was reading this passage in, it was actually in the Gospel of John. It's in all four Gospels, but I chose, for some reason, the one in John to read and pray with, because I wanted to, I guess, justify myself to God. And so he played a little trick on me there, because it's different in the Gospel of John than in the other four. Cut me off if I'm going too long.
No, you're doing great.
But basically, it was the passage where Jesus says that a prophet is not without honor except in his native place. And I thought to myself, if I go home, I can't be a good priest for people, because they'll just be like, oh, it's just David, like we know him, or they'll be like, oh, who is this person, and it's all a lie. It was all lies. It doesn't actually make sense if you think about it.
Right.
It's not actually rational, but it was fear. And I read the next verse, which was, and Jesus, continued on to Galilee, and all the people welcomed him. I was like, what is this? What does this even mean? It's like a nonsense sentence in the Bible, but it's not a nonsense sentence. It's like Jesus goes, the people do welcome him, and we know there were many who wanted to kill him, and there were many others who listened to his words. And it's like, Jesus didn't let fear keep him from moving on in his ministry, even after telling his apostles before they went back home, basically, I'm going to be without honor in my native place, almost preparing them. And so to me, that I just laughed out loud in the chapel, because it was like I was trying to pray with a certain thing, and then God flipped it on me.
We're going to continue this story when we come back from the break. Father David Frank's telling us his call to the priesthood, his vocation story. It's quite an interesting story. Stay with us. That number to call and donate to hear more stories like Father David Frank, more vocation stories to the priesthood, to hear your priest. Call 855-341-5199, or you can donate online safely and securely at ccradio.help. Stay with us. You're listening to Drive Time.
Underwriting of programming on Catholic Community Radio is generously provided through the courtesy of the Peyton Falgout Band.
This is Dr. Guy Cresson. With my partner, Dr. Brian Miller, we're at Bucktown Dental Care in the shadows of St. Louis King of France Church in Metairie. My sister Diane Cresson Swing is a hygienist. My brother Russell Cresson is an orthodontist. Bucktown Dental Care, 1569 Lake Avenue since 1980. 504-831-6900. On the web at bucktowndentalcare.com and on Facebook. We would love to have you as part of our dental family. Bucktown Dental Care, guiding you to better health.
Help save lives by supporting Bridge House, Grace House, Spectacular Thrift Stores. Your donation of furniture and home goods provides bargains for those needing used furnishings at a good price. We have good stuff. We'll even come pick up your donation. 504-525-3130, 7901 Airline Highway and 4243 Earhart Boulevard. Did we mention we have good stuff? Bridge House, Grace House, Spectacular Thrift Stores.
Look around you everywhere. Look around, my friend. You can see Jesus along your way.
This is John Blanchard with the Rock and Bowl at Yale College Inn, right across the street from Notre Dame Seminary on South Carrollton Avenue. We feel blessed to be in such close proximity to God's great work. Chef Baker Guevara and our culinary kitchen crew are putting together great creations that continue to delight New Orleanians and their families. Rock and Bowl and Yale College Inn is New Orleans. Please think of us for your next family get-together. Shrimp remoulade and fried green tomatoes, oysters blue, fresh vegetables from our gardens next door. This is where great food meets great New Orleans people and has been serving New Orleans families for generations. Come and join us.
Yes, I felt the love of Jesus, Christ our King.
Maryland Campers is a proud supporter of Catholic Community Radio since 2013. Known nationally, Maryland Campers is right here at home and offers RVs, fifth wheels, and motor coaches from names like Cardinal, Flagstaff, and many others. Over 30 acres of RVs and hundreds of makes and models. Sales and service personnel have the experience to serve you. Maryland Campers with 2 locations on I-12 in Ponchatoula and I-12 in Holder. Maryland Campers on the web at marylandcampers.com.
If you're looking for that special and unique gift, be it rosaries, statues, handcrafted art, or jewelry, stop by the Shepherd Staff Gift Shop at Sister Dulcie's Ministry, located on the grounds of Cypress Springs Mercedarian Prayer Center, 17560 George O'Neill Road. Remember, when you shop at the Shepherd Staff Gift Shop, you're shopping with a purpose. Shepherd Staff Gift Shop is on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
A&M Container Sales and Rentals is proud to support Catholic Community Radio across the Gulf South and encourages other Catholic business owners to do the same.
A&M Container knows that Catholic Community Radio is where you'll get the news from a Catholic perspective, while keeping you up to date on news from the Vatican as well. It's also a great way to stay in touch with the local church community.
A&M Container is your dependable source for on-site storage solutions since 2002.
On the web at andmcontainer.com.
It's Drive Time on Catholic Community Radio. Ignite those phones at 855-341-5199. Or make your online donation at ccradio.help.
Thank you so much for all those who have donated during Drive Time so far. And thank you so much to all those who have subscribed to our YouTube channel, really, since we've started this morning, because we do have a few new subscribers. So you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, search Catholic Community Radio when you're on YouTube. It's youtube.com, and click on the subscribe button and hit that bell. Can't miss it, because every time we go live from the morning show or even Drive Time or publish a video, then you will get a notification. We are live on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Catholic Community Radio. You might not have gotten a notification, which is why we're sending you to YouTube, so you can get a notification, just so it reminds you when we are on. To talk about Wake Up and Drive Time and all the wonderful things that Catholic Community Radio provides. Let's also talk about the wonderful incentives you'll get when you do donate and join, the coffee club during Drive Time. So the coffee club is $1 a day, which equals to $30 a month. And when you join Coffee Club, you will receive a River Road Coffee's bag or box of K-Cups. Please let us know which one you would like. Catholic Community Radio travel tumbler and a ceramic wake-up mug, a copy of Beautiful Hope, and a signed print of Jacob Zumo's Our Lady of Prompt Succor. So thank you so much, Jacob, for providing that, and River Road Coffees for providing the tumbler and for providing the coffee, excuse me. But yeah, 855-341-5199 or ccradio.help. Also, let's talk about some wonderful incentives and donation levels. So when you donate a certain amount, we will give you something as a thank you. So all donations of $50 or more, you will receive a sample set of corded candles. All donations of $250 or more, you'll receive a Madonna and Child Holy Water font and the sample set of corded candles. All donations of $500 or more, you will receive a 1-year subscription to the Hallow app, as well as a holy water font and the corded candle, so it all adds up. And all donations of $1,000 or more, you will receive a Miraculous Metal Gold Oval Pendant, the Hallow app subscription, the water font, and the candle. So the more you give, the more you get. And these are great incentives. So call today. We have wonderful volunteers waiting to take your call in the Baton Rouge studio. They are so nice, and they love talking to people, and they're just so happy to be there. So 855-341-5199 or ccradio.help is where you can go and donate. Okay. Enough of that. Father David, Frank, I feel like I talk for like 2 hours about incentives, but I know that we have people who tune in at every point in time.
I have the Hallow app. Actually, that's a perk of being a priest. Probably most priests don't know this because Hallow is new, and most priests probably are not into the majority are probably not into kind of the podcasting or phone app kind of scene in terms of listening to content rather than maybe watching it on YouTube, for example. So they probably don't realize this, but priests do get a now if you're a priest out there, still join the coffee club. I did, okay. But priests do get a complimentary subscription to Hallow if they ask for it. And I have a friend who works for Hallow, and he told me about it. And so I have Hallow and the full thing, and it's great. I know I used it a lot during Lent. Some meditations on I think it was the last words of Christ and different things every day for read by people like Jim Caviezel, right? So you hear the voice of Jesus Christ from the Passion movie, right?
Yes.
Praying prayers, and you can pray along with that, right? Or
Jonathan Rumi from The Chosen. I know I've said that so many times. I love The Chosen, but we pray the Rosary together, and he prays it in how he plays Jesus, which is not how he really talks in real life.
That's interesting.
But I love it, and it sends you reminders, because sometimes I get so busy that I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't pray my Rosary today, or maybe I should just take a step back and hold up for a minute and try to calm down and take a look. And the app really helps with meditation and daily readings and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, I don't know if I would love that, kind of the voice like that, in the Rosary. But that's the whole good thing about Hallow, is that you can choose.
You can choose
sometimes which voices you want to read the things for you, and maybe there's a voice that's less distracting to you than others, and you choose that one.
But suddenly you're like, your voice choice is way too distracting for me. I love it. Okay, that's okay. But see, that's what makes this app so wonderful, is that it does help you, and it's for everyone. So there's different options for you to choose. So I really love that as well. Before the break, we were talking about your vocation story and your call to the priesthood, and you were talking about the wonderful time you've had in college, and now we're getting into seminary. So talk about that, and then moving forward.
Yeah, so there I was at Christendom College, having my vocation fostered really by not only being around the professors and the priest chaplains that were there, and they had a vocations fair, sort of like a job fair, but as a vocations fair where different religious orders and different dioceses and vocations directors and people would come out and set up tables, and you could meet the different sisters or brothers or priests from different places. Not only did it have that kind of environment, but I think just like my fellow students, we're all kind of on the same mindset of wanting to know what God wanted of them in life. How could they give themselves to God? What were they made for, and how would they most flourish in life? And we're all discerning that together in a really joyful way. So there were like 4 or 5 of my classmates who became priests. More than that went into seminary. Not all became priests. And then, I was kind of joking. I feel like, a third of the girls in my class married a third of the guys in my class. So it's like, very much my class especially it was just exciting to see how God was leading people to their vocations together. But anyway, I came back to Louisiana, and I found out I had never met the new Archbishop of New Orleans, Archbishop Gregory Amond. So I'd never met him before. I didn't know. I barely knew we had a new Archbishop, right? Turns out that the vocations director, as I applied to seminary, was Father Steve Bruno, and he's now my pastor.
Oh,
so I'm very
awesome.
happy to be assigned with him because I already kind of looked up to him, just having him as my vocations director entering seminary. But yeah, I thought, wow, this is kind of going really smooth, almost too smooth. Like I was worried, like, is something going to happen? Like, is a relative going to die or something? Is going to be my new cross to carry? I mean, I was just like, it's going too smoothly. And the crosses that came up in seminary and preparing for priesthood were not at all what I would have expected. And I think that's sometimes how crosses work, but the Lord got me through it. We know that it's never an easy thing to give your life to God, no matter what your vocation is. It's not like easy, and we know that crosses are part of life, and how much worse they would be without the Lord to help us carry them. So, so I'm just grateful. Obviously, the vocation to priesthood, we have to believe that it is a supernatural vocation. It's not something that really makes sense ultimately when if you were to just be really materialistic or practical or pragmatic about it. Like, I know sometimes you'll hear someone like Matt Fradd talking about, his mom making some comment about like comparing priesthood to like, well, why don't you just be a social worker and then you could get married, or things like that, right? And so people think of priesthood a lot of times, I think, as a function, as a career, as a job, as something that, well, really anyone could do, and why don't you let more people do it, or things like that. And it's not about that, right? You become something that we didn't make up, right? That God made up, right? God came up with this. And so it's not up to us to decide what priesthood is for ourselves, and so and it's not just a career that we can, if we practice hard enough, we can have all the right skills and do it. And that's why there is such a room for all the other vocations, because like we need all sorts of good, people to give counseling, good parents, right? Spiritual fatherhood is obviously not the only fatherhood, right? Although all men, whether biological parents or not, and all women, whether biological parents or not, are called to fatherhood or motherhood spiritually, right? But we know that there wouldn't be more kids if there weren't married people, right? So anyway, I'm just grateful that God called me to the vocation He did, because it's been a great joy ever since, and full of its crosses as well. But it's been awesome.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. More with Father David Frank, parochial vicar over at St. Rita in Harahan, when we come back from the break. Don't forget that number to call and donate to hear more stories like Father Frank. Continue to pray for our priests and seminarians in seminary. 855-341-5199, or you can donate online at ccradio.help. Stay with us. You're listening to Drive Time.
Hi, I'm Chad Olivier, Certified Financial Planner, CEO of Olivier Group. My wife Rose and I and our 4 sons are parishioners of St. George Catholic Church. Olivier Group was founded in 2002 with the goal of helping families with all aspects of financial planning to protect your family. We do this by using a team approach with a personal touch, always acting in the client's best interest. Life by design, not by default. Visit our website at oliviergroup.com.
Cetera Advisor Networks, LLC, member FINRA, SIPC, CWM, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor.
St. Mary's Books and Gifts, the little bookstore with a big heart and a thirsting desire to spread the good news. 225-272-4030. Laura Manderfield Krantz Gifts St. Mary's Books and Gifts is a longtime supporter of Catholic Community Radio. St. Mary's Books and Gifts, located on the corner of Florida and Sherwood Forest Boulevard, 225-272-4030. St. Mary's Books and Gifts.
Security is knowing that your payment was processed, your check deposited, your business handled. At Home Bank, we offer the technology you need to have peace of mind wherever you are. So go on, roam, wander. You have the freedom. With Home Bank's mobile app and account notifications, you'll never have to wonder what's happening with your money. We have the tech you expect and the service you deserve. For over 112 years, we've been good for business, good for life. Home Bank, member FDIC.
Why worry about termites? Termites cause billions of dollars in property damage each year. They primarily feed on wood, but also damage paper, books, insulation, and even swimming pool liners. One of the questions we hear most often is, can I treat the house myself? Ridding a home of termites requires special skills. A knowledge of building construction is needed. Many of these potential points of entry are hidden and difficult to access. Termite control also utilizes specialized equipment and knowledge of specific termite behaviors. In short, termite treatment is a job for professionals. Do-it-yourself products sold to homeowners at retail stores or bought over the internet will seldom eradicate an existing termite problem. Bug Ninja Pest Control. We service New Orleans, the North Shore, and Baton Rouge. BugNinjaPestControl.com. 225-414-2020.
PellPrint.com.
South Louisiana's own online print shop.
PellPrint.com.
For your school or business printing, mailing, banners, and promotional items.
PellPrint.com.
PellPrint.com is proud to support Catholic Community Radio.
PellPrint.com.
Hi, I'm Chloe with Fisher & Sons Jewelers at the corner of West Esplanade and Transcontinental in Metairie, and we are proud supporters of Catholic Community Radio. With a wide selection, we have custom-made jewelry during those special times in the life of any Catholic. From baptismal and First Communion rosaries, confirmation gifts, and that special matrimonial engagement ring, or even a simple but special holy medal for a birthday or anniversary. Fisher & Sons Jewelers in Metairie, where the unusual is commonplace.
What does it take to become a St. Michael High warrior? 6th, 7th, and 8th grade prospective students and their families are invited to find out during the St. Michael the Archangel High School Open House. Wednesday, October 26th from 4 to 7 p.m. Come discover the difference in Catholic education and why you should join the St. Michael family. Reserve your tour now at smhsbr.org. That's smhsbr.org.
It's Drive Time on Catholic Community Radio. Ignite those phones at 855-341-5199. Or make your online donation at ccradio.help.
And a good morning it is. It is Thursday morning. Actually, the weather is going to be changing for the better. Rain is moving off to the south, and there's a cool front passing across Louisiana. So, don't get too excited. It's not sweater weather yet, but highs are going to be like in the low to mid 80s, the overnight lows in the upper 50s, which is super nice. In fact, the wife and I fired up the grill last night, and kind of a late in the year grilling, at least on the patio, and it was really nice. So we enjoyed it. Well, I'm Jeff Blackwell, by the way, and I'm just stepping in here. We'll get back to Gabby and Father Frank in just a moment. Wanted to give you an update. We have an anonymous online donation at ccradio.help. This person is from Metairie, and a donation of $150. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, and by the way, when you do the donation online, there's an option for you to pay the credit card fee, or not. That's up to you. If you choose not to, no problem. We get the donation, and we take the fee out of that. But some folks have been adding to their donation. So in this person's case from Metairie, $150 donation plus an $8 transaction fee. So thank you for adding that and taking care of that. It just means more money in the bank for Catholic Community Radio. And we had, and listen, we have such delightful, friendly volunteers here answering the phone. If you have a prayer request, call right now, because they will take your prayer request and pass it on to us. We have prayer every morning. We pray for our underwriters, our listeners, our benefactors. So we are very, very serious about that. It's a nonprofit who depends totally upon your donations and your support, not only financially but prayerfully as well. That phone number is 855-341-5199, 855-341-5199. Operators are standing by to take your call right now, and they're nice. All right. So here's one that came in from Deacon George over at Immaculate Conception. And he is issuing a challenge to not only other deacons, but to any listeners to come on and join in and support Catholic Community Radio. He donated $150. Thank you, Deacon. We appreciate not only your financial gift, but your gift to our community spiritually and our Catholic faith. Oh, man, what a blessing. So there's the phone number. I gave it to you. If you want to donate online anytime during the day or night, 24/7, ccradio.help. Hey, if you want to become a coffee club member, it's only $1 a day. And Gabby, you can tell us the benefits of that. But go to joincoffeeclub.com. That's a very simple, easy way to become a coffee club member. And what do you get?
Yes, when you join the coffee club, you will receive River Road coffee, a bag of River Road coffee, or a box of K-Cups. Please let us know which one you would like. A copy of Beautiful Hope, a Catholic Community Radio travel tumbler and ceramic wake-up mug, and a signed print of Jacob Zumo's Our Lady of Prompt Succors. So 855-341-5199 is the number you can call, or go to ccradio.help and donate safely and securely online. So yeah, I'm in the studio in New Orleans with Father David Frank, parochial vicar over at St. Rita in Harahan, and we've been talking about his vocation story right before the break, and it's just so nice to hear vocation story because each one is uniquely different. Not one is ever the same. Everyone's from different backgrounds, and how God called them to the priesthood or the diaconate is so unique. And I think that a lot of people who are maybe discerning and are listening may want to hear something like that.
Yeah, there's all kinds, and for me, I felt drawn to priesthood from a very early age, and not everyone has that story, and you hear all sorts of stories. I remember hearing Father David Ducote's story on Catholic radio, probably when I was a seminarian, maybe even before. Well, he wouldn't have been a priest yet. He probably was a seminarian or something, or a deacon. But I remember him sharing his story on Catholic radio, and that's where I heard it, not from him in person, but on Catholic radio. So he has a more maybe dramatic story where he was even engaged at one point, and then ended up that broke off, and then he became a priest. So I don't know all the details, but yeah, everybody has a different path. My class, 8 of us were ordained together for New Orleans, 8 New Orleans priests back in 2019, and some of them had previous careers already, and others of us pretty much had almost used seminary as college, or had gone through college and then straight to seminary. So just all types on the spectrum, all ages and pasts and experiences. But it's been, the Lord can call who he wants to call. And that was a phrase that I learned from a book that, obviously this phrase goes around in different contexts, but where I learned it was a book called To Save 1,000 Souls, which was written by Father Brett Brannon. He used to be a vice rector of a seminary. And he wrote a book on specifically discerning diocesan priesthood, or even more specifically, probably discerning if you should go to seminary for diocesan priesthood. So it's really a book for people who aren't even in seminary yet, right? Who want to know more about, like, what's even next for, how would I even go about figuring out if this is something I should do. And that book is part of my vocation story. But one thing he says in the book is, he says that God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. So the point is, if God's calling you and you feel that on your heart, and it's not like in contradiction to, your state in life, it's not just something in your head that's telling you this, but that it really is the Lord kind of moving you, whether in prayer or just through maybe the voice of others that are trusted people in your life, or who knows what, you just feel that desire, then it's like, well, okay, I don't have to have it all figured out before I become a priest, or at least before I go to seminary, right? You just, trust that God will qualify the ones he is calling if you actually put yourself into that current of his grace. And so I think for me, that was something I really needed to keep encouraging me throughout seminary, as your shortcomings in seminary become very apparent to you. So that's been something from Father Brett Brannon in his book To Save 1,000 Souls, right? That's a good book for I think moms and dads of sons who may be looking into priesthood, for them to understand better maybe what their son is discerning, or to see it more clearly. They might be, this does seem like my son, or this does, now I understand what he's going into in the seminary, that mysterious place, and so anyway, 2019 was a good year for me, ordination year, and it was a good year for you in a sense too, because
Yeah, well, I got married in 2019. We were talking about that we both started our vocations the same year, and how great that year was.
Yeah, that's great. I also got to go to the Holy Land in 2019 before all the pandemic stuff.
Yes.
So that was a great trip. I'm grateful for that. That was just a great grace from the Lord. You know what today is? 105 years ago today was the miracle of the sun at Fatima.
Fatima, yeah.
Yeah. So were you working at Catholic Radio 5 years ago?
I was.
So
yes.
you were probably on Wake Up, on the 100th anniversary of Fatima.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I remember that. Yes, I remember that. Yes.
How well do you remember it?
Not that well.
It was Friday the 13th.
Was it really?
I looked it up.
Oh, well, so much more needed now. I'm not actually really a superstitious person.
Here we are in October. I'm told that, like you said, I'm at St. Rita in Harahan. I'm told that for Halloween, I think it's Halloween night, there's just this giant, multi-block party that, thousands of kids, maybe not thousands, I don't know. That's what I've been told.
A lot of kids.
Descend upon Harahan, and, literally I will not have access to my driveway because streets are blocked off, and, I can't even imagine how many hundreds of thousands of dollars of candy. Okay, maybe that's an exaggeration. But, so apparently this is a big deal. I'm like, why did no one ever tell me about this in my childhood? Because I like candy.
Is that at St. Rita's?
Yeah, it's not put on by St. Rita.
Oh,
it's in Harahan. It's nearby.
Just a huge
Oh yeah, it's our neighborhood.
Oh my goodness, that's fun, and that's fun for the parents because the parents want the candies too.
Yeah.
Let's just be real with ourselves here. I mean, we're very honest. We're like, okay, we'll get what we like, and stuff like that. I look forward to that every single year. Not in Harahan, but just doing that in general as a family, because I had such a wonderful experience doing that as a kid and remember those times. So, and we'll talk about your daily activities and stuff like that, because you have quite interesting hobbies, and we'll continue to talk about things happening over in the area at St. Rita in Harahan. Harahan's such a busy place. So stay with us. More with Father David Frank when we come back from the break. ccradio.help is where you can go and donate online, or you can call 855-341-5199. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel and Facebook. Just search Catholic Community Radio for both. On YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell, so whenever we go live or publish a video, you'll get a notification from us. And tell your friends, tell your family about Catholic Community Radio so they can also tune in as well, because that is evangelizing, and that's why we're here. Stay tuned. You're listening to Drive Time on Catholic Community Radio.
I'm Scott L. Smith, estate planning attorney, and I'm an underwriter of Catholic Community Radio. I help individuals, families, and businesses with estate planning and successions, creating wills, trusts, and powers of attorney, with offices in Baton Rouge and New Roads. I'm a husband, father of 5, Catholic author, and Grand Knight of the Knights of Columbus in New Roads. I'm attorney Scott L. Smith. You can reach me at 225-718-5334 and on the web at smithlawfirmla.com.
Louisiana Bar Association ad filing number LA21-12335.
Lord Wellington Investments is owned by Greg Kennedy, CPA, a longtime friend and supporter of Catholic Community Radio. Lord Wellington Investments serves all of your investment, financial, and tax needs in South Louisiana. From 401k rollovers to financial and tax planning, it's Lord Wellington Investments. Greg Kennedy says, invite others to join you in listening to Catholic Community Radio. Lord Wellington Investments, 225-292-5118.
Hi, I'm Father Matthew Dunn. Join me for the Baton Rouge Youth March for Life Benefit Dinner and Silent Auction, or Pro Vita Divine Mercy, Wednesday, November 16th at St. Michael High School. This inspirational night raises scholarships for youth and religious to attend the March for Life in Washington, D.C. This year's keynote speaker is abortion survivor Dustin Bertrand. So join us for the Pro Vita Divine Mercy Dinner. For tickets, visit youthmarchforlife.org.
Delivering customized services while developing lasting client relationships is what sets Olin Group One Solution apart. As an independently owned agency for over 25 years, the foundation of Olin Group's success is the commitment to help individuals and businesses maximize and protect their economic potential by providing personal attention, quality products, and superior services. Olin Group offers employee benefit consulting, financial services, property and casualty, and specialized insurance for emergency services. Visit olingroup.com and see how our family protects yours. Olin Group, one solution, helping address your needs today and for many years to come.
Securities offered through Calton & Associates Incorporated. Member FINRA, SIPC, OSJ, 2701 North Rocky Point Drive, Suite 1000, Tampa, Florida, 33607, 813-264-0440. Olin Group, Olin Financial Group, Massett Olin Benefits Consulting, Olin Porsche Insurance are not owned or controlled by Calton & Associates Incorporated.
Catholic Art and Gifts, 6184 Florida Boulevard, is a proud sponsor of Catholic Community Radio. Catholic Art and Gifts has sacramental items as well as supplies for church and clergy. Catholic Art and Gifts also stocks the latest books from Catholic authors, plus icons and gifts for all occasions. You will always receive a warm, heartfelt welcome from the staff. Catholic Art and Gifts, 6184 Florida Boulevard, 225-926-1216. On the web at Zieglers.com.
Hi, I'm Patrick Shane, part of the fifth generation of Jacob Shane and Son Funeral Home, and we're proud supporters of Catholic Community Radio. I grew up on the lakefront, went to St. Francis Cabrini and Brother Martin. Now I head up my family's funeral business. Catholic families and clergy trust us to care for their loved ones according to traditions they live by and love. Come visit us in our historic home on Canal Street across from Mandina's, or call us at 504-482-2111. That's 504-482-2111.
Halloween is right around the corner, and the Heavenly Donut now has spooky Halloween king cakes made fresh daily. These Halloween king cakes are great to boo your child's teacher, your business associates, friends, and family. The Heavenly Donut spooky Halloween king cake comes in plain, Bavarian cream, cinnamon, and chocolate. Remember, there's boudin kolache trays too that will put a smile on any witch's face. The Heavenly Donut, I-10 and Highland Road, Baton Rouge.
It's Drive Time on Catholic Community Radio. Ignite those phones at 855-341-5199. Or make your online donation at ccradio.help.
That number is 855-341-5199 or ccradio.help. I'm Gabby Smith along with Father David Frank in the New Orleans studio. He's a parochial vicar over at St. Rita in Harahan. It's so good to have you with us, and we're in our last few minutes of your hour for day 3 of Drive Time, and we were talking at the break, some fun activities that we like to do, like with our families or with our friends, and I always love asking priests, like, what's the day-to-day life, or what do you like to do for fun and stuff like that? And you were telling me a few of those things.
Sure, yeah. I mean, and I think we've talked about this during COVID too. You had me call in for one of the interviews, one of the spots on one morning, and I mentioned, and I think some people heard, that I like kayaking. So I haven't been kayaking in a long time. I've had my kayak for several years now. And for some reason, just ever since the summer, ever since moving to St. Rita, I've not had a chance to go kayaking. But that's something ordinarily that would be a fun thing for me to do with a couple friends. Or there's a couple of families I got to know in my last parish assignment that enjoy going out to Mississippi to kayak. So I'm sure they're not listening, but they know who they are if they are. But we go out to Mississippi to one of those canoe rental places where, you can just rent the kayaks. You don't have to bring your own.
Mhm.
And that's always fun to do with people who aren't into kayaking because it's kind of an introductory to it and anyone can do it and you don't have to own a kayak. So that's a lot of fun. But I don't get to do that very often. But that's one of my many interests. Another thing that's recently become part of my day off has been to go square dancing. There were some folks who worked in the office at my last parish invited me because they go to square dancing and they were all into it and they, belong to the club and all that stuff and so they invited me to go with them, and it was funny because I remembered that as a middle schooler and high schooler, we used to have some square dance, like just basic introduction.
Yeah, we did
fun
too
nights.
In gym class. We had square dancing.
And the caller that would come, so we were homeschoolers, and we'd make like an evening of it at like a KC hall kind of thing. So all these homeschool families, most of whom know nothing about square dancing, but it was great. Like we're all learning for the first time, and like all ages can learn.
Yeah.
And now, going to kind of on my day off, often, square dance with some of these older couples who are in their 80s and 90s and still square dancing.
Cool.
And still moving around. I mean, that's how they're still so active and all that is because they've just kept dancing over the years. And to me, that was part of my high school, part of my college years. And so I'm like, well, now that I'm a priest, how do I continue dancing? Well, square dancing is kind of, I think, a pretty appropriate way to keep that in your life. Also, I looked into tap dancing, but COVID kind of shut some of the in-person lessons down. But before that, I did a couple of tap dance lessons. Just, you're dancing on your own. So like you can dance wherever you are, even without a partner, right?
Yeah.
So
we did, when we took a cruise to Mexico, we did a salsa dance class, and that was so much fun. But have you ever been Cajun dancing with like 70 and 80-year-olds?
Oh yeah, that was probably
the
the
most
first
intimidating thing I've ever done in my life.
Oh wow. That might have been my first exposure to dance as a kid, going to I believe it was Randall's. Anyways, it's like a Cajun restaurant out towards Lafayette, and with dancing with a dance floor. And there was an old priest. We didn't know he was a priest. He was in, like lay clothes, but he was an old priest, and he was maybe in his 80s, and he taught my parents how to Cajun dance.
Oh my gosh.
And so, like, I'm a little kid,
That's
and how much did I pick up of that? Not really much, but...
Yeah, I just kind of sat there really intimidated, terrified, not knowing what to do. This stuff never really scares me. But whenever, an 80-year-old man from Vacherie asks you to dance and you say, okay, I don't know how to do this, he teaches you how to do it. And oh my gosh, I mean, I couldn't even match the level that they were on. And it was a blast, though. I had so much fun. So I'm so glad that you could do that, because dancing is so much fun, and listening to music and stuff. And I think it's good to go out and experience that. And now that we can, and things are kind of like have been opened, so that's good. So give me a report. I want to hear about the tap dancing and how that's going. So that's so cool about square. I haven't heard about
really
square
kept
dancing
it up,
in years.
but I can, now that things are more back in person, I feel like I could go back to those lessons again and maybe learn more. I don't know. It always worked out because it was like it lined up with my day off, which, you know, I mean, it's like I don't personally like spending my day off like sitting around. I like to be going somewhere,
Doing
moving,
something.
and usually seeing friends. But I think that's why the square dancing has been good, because I have friends going to it, right? So it's not, I'm not just going to dance. I'm going to be with a certain group of people that I've grown up with and things like that.
I love it, because on Catholic Community Radio you can hear what priests like to do for fun, and just being a part of that, and it's so good to hear that as well. Father Frank, we have about we're almost close to 9 o'clock, and so we have a few minutes left, about 8 minutes left. Why is Catholic radio important now more than ever, and why should people tune into Catholic Community Radio and support?
Well, I would qualify. I don't like the phrase "now more than ever" anymore, so we can just like leave that phrase out.
We can leave it at, we can.
I don't
just
ever want to hear
say
"now more
goodbye
than
to it.
ever" again. No. Why is it so important now? I think so. One thing I was thinking about is that when you start your car, the radio turns on automatically. I hate this, but newer cars, right, are set up that way.
Yeah.
And it's like, is it a bug or a feature? They think it's a feature. I think it's a bug, right? I don't think it should be that
No,
way.
I do too. Sometimes I just don't want to listen to anything.
But if this is what's happening to people in their cars, like if they disconnect their phone from the car, what turns on? The radio. Okay, so like there's a temptation there maybe to, instead of turning it off, like, oh, let me kind of scroll through and see. And if someone stumbles across Catholic radio, that is, they could hear someone talking about a topic that they haven't thought of, ever in their life, or they haven't heard it presented a certain way. They could hear like a Catholic Answers, question and answer show during their commute, and be like evangelized by that, really be, evangelized. I don't want to use that in a very too loose of a way, because we know that evangelization is like proclaiming the gospel. And sometimes, we as Catholics, if we're more dedicated to our faith, might confuse apologetics with evangelization, that it's like all these kind of like arguments and conversations and debates. But sometimes evangelization is just telling people, most of the time, it's just telling people about the one that you know, and the one that you love, and the one that loves you, and that loves them, and that they don't know it, but if they meet him, that their life would be changed. That's evangelization. And so anyway, Catholic radio has like all those worlds where it has like, just people sharing the lived experience of their faith. You can pray the rosary along with it. You can listen to people talking about their faith on the morning show or whatever. Then you can have something like Catholic Answers, where you can call in, or you can listen to this show where it's people talking about, specific problems or questions, or, answering questions about the faith, or about what we believe and why we believe it and why we live the way we do. And so it's kind of that place where people who might not be in the pew can come across nevertheless the gospel. They can come across, maybe people who don't know a single Christian, because they, not only do we have the temptation to live in our little bubbles of people we know and are comfortable with, and that think like us and live like us, but also other people are doing that too. And they're just living in their little bubbles of people that think like them, that live like them, and they don't know any differently. And so any other opportunity to break into that, I say is worth our effort.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Father David Frank, for being with us today. We're at the end of your hour, and I just so appreciate your being here this early and for joining us for Drive Time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's great to be here, Gabby. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, stick around, because who's coming up next? Father Mark Beard, so popular pastor at St. Helena Church over in Amite. He will be joining Mark Shafisi and Damian Collado over in the Baton Rouge studio at 9 o'clock. So stay with us. You'll definitely want to hear what he has to say. He's a busy guy, and the fact that we have him on Drive Time, I'm looking forward to that and tuning in. 855-341-5199 or ccradio.help is where you can go and donate online. We're also live on YouTube and our Facebook page. Just search Catholic Community Radio, hit the subscribe and bell over on YouTube so you can get a notification every time we go live, especially for Father Mark segment coming up at 9 o'clock. Have a wonderful 9 o'clock hour. We'll see you then with Mark and Damien and Father Mark. Stay with us. You're listening to Drive Time.
True Blue Water is a proud supporter of Catholic Community Radio. True Blue Water serves East and West Baton Rouge, Livingston, Ascension, and Iberville parishes, delivering artesian, fluoride, and filtered water to your home or work. Remember the spelling of True Blue, T-R-U-B-L-U-E, True Blue Water. For information, visit True Blue Water online at trubluewater.com or 225-313-1299.
Create a place for prayer in your home with Corda candles. Inspired by St. Michael, Our Lady of Guadalupe, and more. These Catholic candles are handcrafted with all-natural coconut wax and have custom scents connected to saints and the faith. Bring the light of the saints to your domestic church. Visit cordacandles.com. CORDA candles.com.
Hello, this is Gordon Stevens with the Steamboat Natchez and Riverboat City of New Orleans. Come on down and take a Mississippi River cruise with us and enjoy delicious, freshly prepared lunch, dinner, drinks, and jazz music by the Steamboat Stompers and the Dukes of Dixieland. Did you know that our boats have been blessed by many priests of our archdiocese, including Archbishops Hannon, Schulte, Hughes, and Gregory Amon, and also by Father Joseph Doyle, Father Tim Hedrick, and my uncle, Father Paul Schott. SteamboatNatchez.com, 504-586-8777.
This is Franciscan Father Greg Friedman for the Catholic Communication Campaign with a message about faithful citizenship. The act of voting is easy. Mark a ballot with a pen or tap an electronic screen. But how do you get to that point? For that, we go all the way back to Jesus. He brought us God's reign, the way of justice and love, revealed in the Scriptures and in the Church. The U.S. Bishop's document, Forming Consciences for Faithful Citizenship, gives us 4 steps to take it from there. After we hear Jesus' teaching, we receive it. A few of us carry around a Bible or the Catechism ready to take out before discussing politics. Rather, we make Christ's teachings a part of how we think. Only then can we take the next 2 steps to act on those teachings and use them to evaluate the positions of political parties and candidates. For more, go to faithfulcitizenship.org.
I'm Ian Malosson with River Road Coffees. We're proud to support Catholic Community Radio across the Gulf South. Our coffee wakes up the staff every morning and keeps them going throughout the day so they can deliver the freshest Catholic content and news to you. You'll also find us at many Catholic Community Radio events. River Road Coffees at your local grocer or visit riverroadcoffees.com for home delivery.
This is Dr. Gary Levy at Lakeview Veterinary Hospital in New Orleans. As stewards of God's four-legged creation, we at Lakeview Veterinary Hospital are proud to support Catholic radio. I grew up in Lakeview and attended Christian Brothers, De La Salle, and Loyola. My love and respect for all God's creatures led to my 40-year veterinary career here in the shadow of St. Dominic's Church. Lakeview Veterinary Hospital on Memphis Street behind Starbucks on Harrison Avenue. 504-482-2173 or lakeviewvet.com.
North Shore Toyota in Covington is pleased to underwrite programming on Catholic Community Radio. North Shore Toyota carries the full line of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs, including Camry, Corolla, and Tundra, Tacoma, RAV4, and 4Runner. Online at northshoretoyota.com. They also have pre-owned and certified vehicles. Visit North Shore Toyota today. I-12 at the 190 Service Road in Covington, next to Piccadilly, and northshoretoyota.com.
It's drive time.
690 AM, WQNO, New Orleans, K268DR 101.5, Chalmette, 1380 WBYR 105.9, K286CS 105.1, Baton Rouge.
ccradio.help.
You know what time it is. It's time to celebrate our faith, our churches, our priests, as together we evangelize from our home and around the world.
It's drive time.
Drive time. Pledge any amount by calling
855-341-5199.
Donate online at ccradio.help. Become a Coffee Club member at joincoffeeclub.com. Or you can download our free app and donate that way.
It's drive time.
And you're along for a faith-filled ride. Let's go live to our studios on Drive Time.
And a happy Thursday morning, everyone. Welcome to Drive Time. Damian Collado along with Mark Chafisi. The Yat Pack is back.
That's it.
Right. And we have as a special guest this morning Father Mark Beard, pastor at St. Helena Catholic Church in Amite. And we are going to be chatting with him momentarily. But Mark, welcome aboard for the next 3 hours.
3 hours winding down
Haven't
Drive
done this
Time.
in a while, huh?
It's been almost a year, but excited to be back with you guys. You know, Damien, today is the anniversary of the Miracle of the Sun,
the dancing sun,
at Fatima. So today will be the Miracle of the Funds.
I like
so
that.
we are looking for $5,000 in donations to keep Catholic Community Radio on the air. And hey, you can help. You can help those dollar signs dance around and keep the station on the air. 855-341-5199 to help keep Catholic Radio on the air and growing.